Hello there! In our previous video, we already talked about the historical situation between Israel and Palestine. So, as I told you then, now that we understand the problem and the beginning of all this conflict, we can now talk of what is happening right now and what have been happening in the last year in this territory. And it's that if you haven't heard the news since 1 year ago, this has become just a war. The problem has escalated to a very new level. In the past year, the tensions have risen, causing the death of very innocent people, including children, old people, and women. The violence among extremist groups has also increased, and the future looks uncertain. The international community fears the worst, a World War III. But can this happen? I mean, this can be solved soon? We are gonna talk right now about this, and we are gonna see how is right now the situation in the region between Israel and Palestine. But before we dive deeper into this topic, let me remind you one more time that this video it's only possible by Languages Unlimited. They offer a wide range of services like translation, interpretation, and transcription. With more than 25 years in the market, they provide you the best services in more than 200 languages. So just visit right now languagesunlimited.com and you will see by yourself all what I'm saying. Now that you know this, let's get back to our topic. Between 2023 and 2024, news about the conflict between Israelis and Palestine has not stopped. The violence has been triggered by different factors, including clashes in holy sites in Jerusalem, the eviction of Palestine families in East Jerusalem, and the growing number of Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Israel's responses, which often includes airstrikes on Gaza, have led to a high number of civilian casualties, drawing international condemnation. On October 7, 2023, hundreds of Hamas militants invaded Israel and killed about 1,200 people, taking about 250 hostages. Israel responded that same day, and since then it had been a total war that has devastated the Gaza Strip and resulted in the death of more than 41,000 people. Additionally, 96,000 people have been injured and at least 10,000 are missing. Gaza is facing a severe humanitarian crisis, and this had got worse by the Israeli blockade and lack of resources. The situation in Gaza right now is critical. The population of about 2 million lives under a blockade that severely limits access to goods, services, and economic opportunities. The unemployment rate is over 50%, and there is limited access to electricity, to clean water, and healthcare. On the other hand, the city of Jerusalem remains as a hot spot of tension. Clashes around one of the most important religious centers in the city have intensified, fueled by the growing presence of Israeli tourists and the militarization of Israeli security forces in the area. This holy site for Muslims, Jews, and Christians is a central symbol of the conflict, and its control has been a constant point of disagreement for years. In the West Bank, conditions are equally worrying. The Israeli military occupation continues with an increasing settlement, housing hundreds and dozens of Israelis in Palestine land. Roadblocks and regular clashes with Israeli security forces create an environment of tension and hopelessness. Daily life for Palestinians is marked by movement restrictions and excessive violence. Because of this, the Palestinian National Authority has faced significant challenges. In the West Bank, its authority has weakened due to the lack of progress toward an independent Palestinian state. Additionally, its president, Mahmoud Abbas, has been in power since 2005, without any kind of election since then. This has led to a leadership vacuum. Currently, the future of the Palestinian is totally uncertain. It's not just a political divide, there is also a social divide, which has led to a clear increase in violence from both sides. This violence has spread to neighboring countries like Syria and Lebanon, which are now also part of the problem, due to the involvement of other extremist groups, threatening to prolong this huge conflict even more. On the other hand, the international community's stance remains crucial. More effective pressure could help restore genuine dialogue. There is also a real deep fear for a potential World War III among international leaders. Because of this, the international community has had a limited role in mediating the conflict. Many Israelis and Palestine who are victims of the situation have felt abandoned by powerful nations like the USA and the European Union, which seem to lack a clear strategy regarding their position in the conflict, while bombings and violence continue to occur month after month, day after day, and week after week in the different areas involved. Some countries have continued to recognize the state of Palestine. However, this recognition has not led to significant changes on the ground. In fact, it is estimated that 90% of the Palestinian population has had to flee their homes, not just in search of a better life, but to survive, to save their lives and their family lives. So, what is needed to end this huge nightmare? Many experts think that we need to consider or reconsider the Palestinian land. However, for this to happen, most sides must reach an agreement, a peaceful agreement, which is kind of complicated given their story and the actual situation there. And we have to remember that we are talking about power, and one of these sides could not be interested in lose this, this part of the power, of the control over this territory. Right now, what we know is that the current situation between Israel and Palestine reflects decades of conflict, pain, and suffering. The living conditions in the occupied territory are just alarming for ones and for others, and the lack of a clear leadership on both sides makes the path to peace even harder. So without a clear stance from the international community, it is pretty likely that this horror will continue, prolonging a conflict that have lasted for over a century. So you know what, we will certainly talk a lot more about this, but until then, see you.